All right? And then God does something confounding and confusing, and it overwhelms me. It's very hard to figure out. Sticks out his left hand. Okay? He says, now, Nathan, all right, give it back. Okay. Give it back. Give what back? Give what back? Everything that I've given to you. Everything that I've given to you. Give that back to me. All right. Wait, everything? Okay. You want her? You want them? You want me? Everything. Are you sure? Are you sure you want everything? Do you ask everybody this? Yeah. Are they giving everything to you? It doesn't look like they're giving everything to you. Okay. Yeah. How is it that you're asking me, Lord, to give? Wait, you are a good God. It says that you're a good God. Okay. How can you be a good God and give me these great things and then stick out your hand at me and say, give it back? Doesn't that make you a God that gives and takes away? Okay, you say that you're a God that gives. Okay. There's got to be some other way. There's got to be some other way than to go into this. This confounds me. I'm undone by this. Okay? Nathan, I promise you, I will make this worth it to you. Give it to me. Give it to me. So you're promising me I'm going to be alive? Okay? Because if you're asking for everything that you give it to me, it means that I could die. It means that I've got to face being dead. I don't have any guarantees here. You're right. You don't get guarantees. All right? I want you to trust me. And I promise you, I will make it worth it to you. Okay? And this exchange can go on for a long time. Okay? For years, it can go on. Okay? And eventually what can happen is if I'm overwhelmed, if I'm undone by what it is that God's asking me to do, and I'm looking at Him, I can't stand it anymore. Okay? I'm not willing to give this to you. It's too much. And I can't keep looking at you, demanding for you to give this back to me. So, I'm sorry. I'm not going to look at you anymore. Okay? And this is where we get into what I call the cup versus funnel. This is a principle. We tend to think of ourselves as a cup, and that what God pours in, we hold on to. And we can. In His mercy, He allows us to do that. Okay? But if you think about anything that goes into a cup, it's not designed to stay there. Okay? It's designed to be in motion. And if you think about water, okay, that's the way it stays clean and pure, is by moving. If you leave a cup on the counter for 72 hours, what happens? It gets polluted. Okay? God designed us to be more like funnels. Gotten a little better at drawing over the years. Okay? So the more we pour out, the more God pours in. Okay? So now that I am with my back towards God, I'm left with what He gave me. All right? And I'm looking around at what other people are doing to try and spice up and to clean what they've got in their cup. Okay? So I put things in, all right? And it seems to work for a little while. And I can drink some of it and, you know, it tastes somewhat clean. But inside I know it's not working. Okay? And depending on how entrenched I am, okay, I can put up the fight for a long time. All right? But eventually what happens is I get sick and tired of this drab that I know is not what God designed for me to experience. And then I think about, in desperation, turning back and looking at Him, and I feel all kinds of shame. I'm overwhelmed. It's not just about having a dirty cup. It's about offending this Lord who deep down inside I know loves me. Okay? But out of desperation, I get sick and tired, and I turn back around, and I open up my eyes, and I look at him, and immediately I see his compassion. And I'm immensely comforted by that. Because he reminds me he's good. And I see his heart of affection. But then I look down at him and there's his hand. Okay? Give this to me. Okay, Lord, I'm convinced. I'm convinced that it's what you have for me to do. But I am scared. I'm scared. Nathan, I promise you, I will make it worth it to you. Nothing else you've tried has gotten the job done. Okay? Surrender. Be vulnerable. And what God takes with his left, he pours back in greater abundance with his right. This is so much better. This is clean. This is good. Oh, you are good. This is what you wanted the whole time. Oh my gosh, I wasted so much time. Oh my gosh, they're so lost. You're a good God. You're a good God. Oh, honey, look what happened. Kids, this is the way it happens. This is the way we do it, okay? All right, it works like this, you know. You give it to him, and he's a good God. He gives back in greater abundance, you know. You're a good God. Okay, Nathan? You okay? All right, give it back now. Wait, I just got it. All right, I just got it. Give me a few minutes to enjoy it, okay? I know it's right. I'm going to get to it. All right, Nathan, give it to me. Okay. Oh, yes. Okay. All right. All right. Now, yeah, okay, here it comes, right? Oh, okay. All right. These foundational scriptures point us to the secret of life, which is all about this. Here you go, Lord. Thank you. All right. And it's because he is the source of everything I need. Okay? Nothing else I need comes from anywhere else but him. And the secret to living a full, purposeful, meaningful life is getting real good at this. All right? And when we start to get this down, he says, okay, now, instead of pouring this directly to me, pour it to them. Okay, yeah, all right, here. Okay. Okay, so I get good at this. Right? And then he says, instead of receiving directly from me, receive it through them. Okay? Okay. This is health, balanced, full living. Okay? And the goal is to get better and better and better at it. In a world that says it's foolish. You know, 1 Corinthians 2:15 says the wisdom of God is spiritually discerned. The world doesn't understand it. In fact, it comes off as foolish to the world. Okay? The idea of Gina moving into a place of forgiveness of Dean, who offended her in the deepest and most powerful way that a person can be offended. That is so unjust and unreasonable as to not be conceivably worth it in the eyes of the world. Okay? But I would submit to you that it's God standing before Gina saying, give this to me. You know? And the grappling is whether or not she's going to trust him. You know, she's going to trust him. I want to give you an illustration to lay this out a little bit further. This is the story of little Bill. who actually becomes an older Bill. Okay, we'll call him William as he gets older. So this is little Bill's life. And he is born into this world. Okay, so he has a finite beginning. But because of the work of Christ and the redemption of God in his life, he will have no end. Okay? And we could spend a lot of time talking about what sin is or sin nature is. And in order to spare us of the deep theological waters, all I'm going to focus on tonight are sin choices. Okay? So we're going to leave the discussion of sin nature to the side. All right. And each of these marks indicates a sin choice. And because we're talking about little Bill, okay, these are sins perpetrated into his life. So these are not yet his own sin choices. These are sin choices by his parents or by other maybe peers in his life, brothers and sisters, okay? And what I want to do is just illustrate for you that each sin choice has a consequence. And the way I illustrate that is through a little fire that burns on top of every sin. Okay? And so the fire is representative of the consequences of sin. Okay? So let's say little Bill experiences the sin of his parents lashing out at him in a temper fit because he won't stop crying. Or let's say it's a big brother who steals something from him or roughs him up. Okay? What would be some of the consequences of that sin in little Bill's life? And that is a non-rhetorical question. We'll get a little bit of interaction. What are some of the consequences of those sins in little Bill's life? What would he feel and experience as a result? Some trauma? Is that what I heard? Okay. All right, let's be a little more specific. What's that? Rejection.
Fear.
Okay, and he would feel weak also. All right. Now there's a term that we use in therapeutic circles. It's called insanity. I don't know if you guys have heard of it. It's a popular definition, doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. The way it applies here is what my colleague called it. You know, it says if nothing changes, nothing changes. Okay? So it's the idea that once we got a cycle in place, it's going to repeat itself. So unless something intervenes to rescue little Bill from the circumstances are going to repeat themselves. So little Bill is going to have these sin choices impacting his life. Okay? And once he gets old enough, he'll begin to embody those sin choices also. And these will start to become his choices. So the situation intensifies.